That sound brings me back. It sounds like the theme for Essential Dynamics, and I'm very glad to be here. I'm Reed McCollum, your host and befuddled companion to the perspective man who is my mentor and friend, Mr. Derek Hudson. Derek, are you on the line here?
Reed, I am. And, we've done so many episodes that I can't remember if we've had this conversation before, but I'm going to just do it again. The name of that song is Feeling Good Blues.
That's right.
And I think that it spoke to me because Essential Dynamics is all about dealing with that opposition in our lives. And so
that's right. Yeah.
Feeling good and blues at the same time, that's Essential Dynamics right there. So thanks for learning to play the guitar.
Yeah, I'm really grateful that I did. How committed I am to making every program work. Derek, we've had a wonderful season. You just mentioned that we've done lots of episodes, and I don't even know how many. We're past 50, aren't we? Yeah. And I feel very grateful to have learned so much, especially this year from our interviews with so many business and community leader personalities. I'm very impressed, and I've had to soak up a lot of their messages well after we've interviewed them. I've really enjoyed that. So thank you for setting that up.
Well, it's been wonderful for me too, because I had no idea what most of them were going to say, and for the most part, well, in every case, we learned stuff we didn't expect, which was
that's right.
Awesome.
That's right. Now, how do you feel the season went overall? Overly.
Well, like I said, I learned a lot, and I set out on this quest.
That's right.
To learn. This isn't my solution to the world's problems. It's a way to look at challenges that we face. And so I continued to learn. And so one thing I'd like to talk about today, and we can maybe pull out some comments from some of our guests and some of the things we talked about in the past, as I wanted to address one of the principles of Essential Dynamics or assumptions that I'm working with about 3 or 4 or 5 episodes ago. We talked about the idea of agency.
Yes.
And about that, we're in these systems and we can make choices. And the other thing we talked about was the idea that there are natural laws or principles that govern things. And so if you can figure them out, there's a relationship between cause and effect. And so there's a relationship between cause and effect, and we can make choices. Those are 2 of the assumptions. And so I guess what that says is if we make choices, we can change the outcome. And
you're really big on this free agency thing, huh? You think that we all have choices. What if I were to say to you, we're all fated, and it doesn't matter what we choose, it's all going to be the same?
Well, I don't buy it. I don't see how that would work. Another argument against choices is, some people have lots of choices because they have lots of money and freedom, and they don't have to go to work every day or whatever. And some people are, in jail and they don't have choices. But let's remember Viktor Frankl.
Yes. Man's Search for Meaning.
Man's Search for Meaning. And he said the last of all human freedoms is to choose our response to the situation that we're in. And of course, Viktor Frankl used his time in a concentration camp to lift and help others.
That's right. Quite an astonishing story, Viktor Frankl. And I'm glad you brought him up, because that, my sister and I have exchanged what our deepest fears are. And it's a kind of a family joke, but mine is hoarding. I fear becoming a hoarder. And Roxy's, my sister, oh my goodness, I just said her name on the air. Everyone's going to flock to find her. But her greatest fear is concentration camps. And I think it came from reading Anne Frank's diary too early, but she really fears concentration camps to this day, which has turned out to be a good thing in her life, because whenever something bad happens, she always says, well, we could be in a concentration camp. So,
and the amazing thing about Viktor Frankl is if that's the worst thing,
yeah,
I mean, he showed how that can be
positive.
Positive.
Well, like you say, our response to it, the actual circumstances may not ever be positive, but our response to it, he made something productive.
Well, and Reed, that's the third principle that I want to talk about. So
bleakness, being bleak,
not bleakness. No, the positive part. The positive.
Oh,
part.
I'm sorry. I was finally going to contribute.
Yes, but, no, you did. You did. So here. I mean, maybe I should have expressed them last time in different order. First is that there are natural systems, there are natural laws, there's cause and effect. The second is that we are agents in that, and we can choose our response in different situations. And the third one I'm going to add, I'm calling it abundance right now, or optimism or positivity, is that there can be good. Things can improve. We can always find the good in a situation. And there's opportunities for us to make things even better. And so I think that's a pretty powerful principle that I'm interested in considering in the world of essential dynamics. One of the things that we saw is we spoke with some people who had some inherent or disabilities.
Yes.
So we talked with Kristen Cox, who lost her vision, in her late adolescence.
Yes.
We talked with Katie Burgess.
Katie Burgess, what a wonderful person. All things joyfully.
All things cheerfully. Yes.
Is it cheerfully? I
cheerfully.
Thought
yeah. All things cheerfully. And there she is in a wheelchair, and she's just a positive person. We talked with Mackenzie Brown, who's Indigenous, and we happened to do it on the day of the discovery of a number of unmarked graves in residential schools.
Right. I remember that.
It was very tender, but positive, things that can come out of this. So one of the things I wanted to share was I talk a lot about Dr. Ellie Goldratt, who came up with a theory of constraints, and he had 5 points. Number one, people are good.
Wow.
Number two, every conflict can be removed. Number three, every situation, no matter how complex it initially looks, is exceedingly simple. Number four, every situation can be substantially improved. Even the sky is not the limit. Number five, every person can reach a full life. And number six, there's always a win-win solution. And it's work. But if you start with this assumption of abundance, that there is more, there's a potential for growth, the potential for good to come out of bad things. And you combine that with the ability to make our own choices and to realize that if we make choices that we can have an impact on the outcome.
Yeah.
I think those are principles which endure, which mean something in the context of essential dynamics, where you may be responding to a call that you didn't think of, that you didn't volunteer for. You're going to face opposition, and sort of why go on in the face of these challenges? Well, the assumptions are is that you can make a difference, and there's potential for growth and improvement.
I really appreciate that, Derek. I also think it takes some courage and faith to base your, as you listed those 5 points, that his entire philosophy starts with people are good. That's a hard assumption at times. I know, as a sufferer of depression at times, I really wonder if people are good. Or I've had that wonder in the past, as so much evil appears, or so much stupidity seems rampant in the world, people making bad choices. I often wonder, are people good at heart? But that assumption you're saying, that's the number one thing he made. I really appreciate that he had the courage to make that decision.
Well, one of the ways I look at it is is we all have maybe a little bit of a light side and a dark side.
Sure.
And, when we talk about our responsibility as leaders, whether that's formally or informally, is, to bring out the good side to the extent that we can. But yeah, I think life goes better when you act with good intentions and you expect that from other people.
Yeah.
And so I'm encouraged by that, because it's been a pretty rough go in a sense. We've got, a pandemic we're dealing with. There's been some polarizing political movements.
Sure have.
There's, still unrest in, other countries, and there's all kinds of suffering, both the things you see on the news and the silent suffering that people have in their, own depression and their relationships and stuff like that. But I think the only answer that makes any sense is to assume that there are things that we can do to make things better. And that's, I think it's kind of holding up. I mean, we're having this discussion so we can test it, but I think it's holding up in making the essential dynamics model something that you can do something with, as opposed to more of a passive description of, vectors on a diagram.
Yeah. And I appreciate that. I also think it's been validated by our guests over and over again that they also have been able to take difficult or sometimes overwhelming negatives and make them positive, become productive in an uncooperative environment.
Well, uncooperative environment, I don't think I've heard that before, but yeah, that's the nature of the opposition that we face. And that's, part of that natural laws conversation is we have limited time, limited resources. We have to deal with gravity, friction.
Right.
And then the other thing that we talk about in essential dynamics is this balance or this opposition between an individual and the group. And people, you really have to be yourself. I mean, it was even just John Hudson.
Yeah.
A few episodes ago, this kind of parting advice was be true to yourself. On the one hand, you also have to fit into a family and a work team and a community. And I think those situations are designed to help us become the best self that we can be true to.
Right. And I remember when we interviewed Kristen Cox, and she said, if you don't know how to use the resources you have, it won't help to have more of them.
Right.
And that's kind of okay, here's what we've got. Let's use it. It's sort of like Celebrity Chef. We're going to give you some molasses and an egg. You've also got a cup of flour. Do something. And crazy ingredients. Of course, that's not a great example, but here's a pound of flounder. And I want you to mix it with this particular ingredient and this particular ingredient. Well, I always admired chefs who were able to make something palatable out of the craziest ingredients. But isn't that also true in business? Is it true what we do every day?
It's true in life. And another way to look at it is that with the exception of the French and Russian judges, every other, like the judges that really matter, count degree of difficulty.
Right.
And we have a challenge in a society that's trying to make everyone equal.
Yeah.
When we all have our individual challenges, and it's how we respond. We can't level the playing field. It's just impossible to level the playing field. It doesn't mean we don't help people out. Don't get me wrong here. But degree of difficulty determines the opportunity for growth.
Yeah. And not everybody comes up to that standard. Some people are felled by the degree of difficulty. I can't do it. I won't do it. For instance, yesterday I missed going to the gym. Now that makes 7 years in a row. So I may not be physically capable of doing things that they do in, say, the Olympics, but I still enjoy watching the Olympics. And why? Why do we watch these things or games of sport of any kind? Well, my theory is that we'd watch them because we are amazed at what the human body can do and what it can be overcome and what it can overcome. And theoretically, I could too, or if not me, then my son or his son, using a patriarchal kind of viewpoint. But nonetheless, I think that's a justification for getting very excited by others' athletic prowess.
Well, I think one of the things I really like about sports, and especially team sports, is the goal and the rules are pretty clear.
Yeah.
And a lot of other things we do in life, it's not the case. And so
except in professional wrestling, I'm not sure what the rules are in professional wrestling, but you go ahead.
Hey, you're the theater guy. You should know. There's a script.
I don't know why there's a referee in professional wrestling. Oh, you can't do. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, you can do that. So the thing about sports is you can see the goal, and you can see all of the effort that it takes to get there. On one level, and so much of our life is not. It's not as clear. The goal isn't as clear. The effort isn't as obvious. And so when you see someone overcome physical challenges to accomplish a goal, you say, there's a story there about the human heart.
Yeah.
And you can take that back to your challenging workplace or your disrespectful teenager or your own employment challenges or whatever, and be as tough about that as the marathon runner is, or the 12th round draft pick that contributes to the winning team.
Yeah, and I love that because, well, what you said earlier, abundance being a third prong, if you will, of essential dynamics. I feel that's a very inspiring way to look at it. That there's enough around us to survive and flourish.
Well, I've quoted this before, and I don't think I had it in front of me then, and I don't have it in front of me now, but Sam Gamgee in one of his, soliloquies said, the people didn't give up because there was something worth fighting for.
Right.
And I think sometimes in our society, we want to kind of like eliminate the fight because it's hard and we don't want people to have to suffer. But there are some things that are worth fighting for. And that's why the quest metaphor for me is so compelling is you can do hard things in the face of a quest that you can't do when you just look at the activity itself and say, oh, that looks hard.
Yeah. I don't know why, Derek, but often after taping one of these podcasts, I feel an urge to go back and watch Lord of the Rings. I'm grateful to you for those reminders.
We're working on a sponsorship deal from Peter Jackson.
Well,
so did we have a good time? Season 2?
I loved it. I think, this is a time of year when we're supposed to be grateful. It's Christmas is coming up as we're taping this and recording this. And I feel like my gift this year was to remind myself that there is abundance. And I feel that makes me feel warm. So,
well, this isn't it though. So this is the end of season 2. And after season 2, we're going to take a bit of a break.
Right.
Except that we love doing this so much that next week, not part of season 2, because we're ending season 2 today.
Right.
Next week, we're going to have the Essential Dynamics Christmas special.
I can't wait. The Muppets are coming, aren't they?
I'm not sure if it's going to be the Muppets or Bill Murray as Scrooge, or I'm not sure what it's going to be. But let me foreshadow just a little bit. And that is that the Christmas story, the real Christmas story, is the ultimate pattern of essential dynamics. So we're going to tease it out next time.
Well, I'm glad. I look forward to our Christmas special. But as for now, we are ending our second season of Essential Dynamics podcast by saying we are very grateful to our listeners and people who have supported and encouraged us throughout these past seasons. As we continue on next year, in the new year, please remember to click on our RSS feed in the new year so that you'll be alerted as to our new startups and new guests and whatever we can find to talk about. And,
sorry, Reed, there's one other thing. I'm
sorry, Derek.
No, I forgot. It was on my list. So the other thing is that my purpose in working with Essential Dynamics is not to have a podcast. It's to have this body of knowledge and this approach that can be useful to people. I use it in my work, but I can only help so many people. So I want, to give access to this people. So I'm working on web-based resources, the Essential Dynamics Wiki, which will be released probably about this time this episode airs.
Okay.
And so people can interact with the concepts of Essential Dynamics live on the web. And then we'll rejoin for ongoing discussions in later seasons of the podcast as we get to that.
Well, that sounds like my Christmas present from you. So
hey, can I jump in, you guys?
Hey, Bryn Griffiths.
Happy holidays to everybody. But, can you guys please explain to me what a wiki is? Derek, do you want to tell everybody what a wiki is? Because not everybody is going to know what a wiki is.
Well, you're just saying that because you didn't, Brett.
I didn't initially. I do now, but I thought I can't be the only one that doesn't know what a wiki is.
Okay, so
I know what a wiki is, and I loved them. I was in the minority, but I loved them when I saw them in Empire. What was it? It was Revenge of the Jedi.
No, that was Wookiees. Okay. That was a Wookiee.
Okay.
Anyway,
so I'm going to take you back to my childhood. When I was quite young and when I first learned to read, I used to like to read the encyclopedia. I had World Book Childcraft.
Yeah.
Then I had World Book, the encyclopedia. My dad was a school teacher. He sold them one summer, I think. Probably sold enough to get a free set, and that was it. But I got them. And I just read the encyclopedia. I just and then 50 years later, Wikipedia comes along.
Right. And
the best part about Wikipedia, I know it's not that great for college papers, but for everything else, when you're reading a paragraph and there's another topic introduced, there's a link.
Yes.
And you can click on the link and go to that topic. And then you can find another one there and you just go deep as you want on something. It's fantastic. And so the technology is called Wiki technology. I think it's Wiki is Hawaiian or something for fast. So great way to learn concepts. And so I've been developing Essential Dynamics Wiki, where as these principles are all interrelated and the podcasts all apply all the principles, there'll be a page for every podcast, which is why you need a break because I'm behind. And you can click on the links and here's my one link, Samwise Gamgee Quest. And then, I can go to that. And so that kind of stuff will be in the wiki and just resources that people are able to explore the concepts of Essential Dynamics. So I'm pretty excited about it.
Oh, that sounds great. I'm excited.
Crowd loves it. Yeah. Okay, super. Thank you. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I just...
No. Bryn, we're always glad to hear from you. Now, I just want to repeat, click on our RSS feed in the new year so that you continue to follow Essential Dynamics because we're going to take a little break here so Derek can catch up on his wikis. And I know my wikis have been killing me. So I look forward to the break as well. Listen, everybody who's been listening to us, thank you so much. We hope you have a great new year. Derek, where can they find you if they want more information?
Hey, Merry Christmas, everyone. You can find me at derekhudson.ca.
And until we meet again, please, everybody, Consider your quest.